Hello, hello. Welcome to Roleplay Cafe. I'm Jason. Sam there beside me. Dell is our presenter tonight. And below me is David. We are playing Dark Age of Man Chronicles, Session 7, I believe. And Dell, take it away.
Um, Irsa, it's been a while since you've set foot on the lands of uh, of Ungolin, and but seemingly you're back. Where are you now?
So I think you would see kind of, the foothills and these rolling grasslands with, there's just rain coming down. I think you would see the remnants of fires behind us, although many of them are being doused by the now rain that's coming down. People screaming and in the distance, right, and just this sound of just boots squelching in the mud, and then almost like as if it was a bird flying through all of this rain or whatever, kind of this top-down view, right? You'd see this what can only be described as an army, albeit a small one, heading south, and at its head I would be on horseback, not quite as feral and savage as I might have looked when first introduced, because now I carry the garments of someone of maybe higher station or higher rank. I have a great longsword kind of draped on my back, although I don't look to be hale enough to maybe wield it with precision. But certainly I am adorned with more jewelry, more silver and gold than I would have before. A trained war stallion riding in. And I think if again, almost as if like the camera swoops around as if it's this like bird's eye view, right? And it would kind of come and show my face, and you would see I'm like gripping onto the saddle, kind of swaying a little bit. My eyes are sort of off, somewhere, right? I'm clearly, my body is here, but my mind is somewhere else. And I think I would be like kind of swaying in the saddle, and next to me would be like this gigantic man, huge, huge like battle axe on his back. He's also mounted. We're only a few of us have horses, but also quite well adorned. And he's grown a bit concerned, and he looks over and he says, "My lady, are you going to be okay?" And as if his words kind of snap me out of it, I look, and at first my vision kind of focuses in on the muddy road that would have been sort of the remnants of the old Roman roads, right, that would have traveled north to south, connecting their forts, at London and York and whatever, or Northwich. And I say, "This is not the way. Freya has shown me a better path, although a slower one. But we must get off the road." And the companion looks to me and he's like, "In this weather, you wish, we could hardly go slower. If it brings us under the cover of trees, well, the men certainly won't worry about that." And I kind of just point, over to kind of a little ways in the distance is where, kind of more of the forest land, the wild forest land is taken over. And you can kind of see. I think the scene would fade or would take off from above, and go into the direction that I pointed. Again, as if this camera bird was flying in, right? And you would see these people bedraggled. Some maybe are in monks' robes, maybe a priest. It's a little hard to tell. Stained, maybe bloody. And they seem to be carrying some sort of box or something, and the people that are carrying it seem to be holding it with reverence, right? And they are following along this path, and you kind of see them come into the trees, and then they're picking their way along through this forest as if they know where they're going, and there would be this like voice or whatever. Now this wouldn't actually be heard out loud, but it was kind of like a narrative thing, right? It's along the ancient way, exiles from the north, carrying the bones of those they hold most dear, will find their salvation. And then it kind of comes back to me, and I would be leading my warband south with the intention of trying to take Dredgetown, because I would have retreated north to Ireland originally, and we had gained enough of a foothold up there, and nominally Northwich is not exactly allied with us, but we have a sort of uneasy peace where the King of Northwich essentially leaves us alone and we leave him alone. But we have gone south with the intention of cutting off the north from the southern kingdoms and then ultimately taking over the whole thing. And so I might be within the vanguard of this. And my companion with me is by the name of Halfdan, and he was one of the he's one of a brother of several Danish warriors that had come along to England, of which only Ivar is left, and Ivar has stayed in Ireland, but Halfdan has come south. These are mostly his men, along with me.
Okay.
So that's where I would be. So, oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to switch it over to the nobleman Julian, Lord Julian. Where you see the
Julian stands outside young Washburn's council quarters, waiting to be received. I stand with my secretary. And await him to call us in, Cassius. And I mumbled to Cassius, I hope this young Lord Washburn, with his father's absence, has kept an eye on this witch in the north who has been troubling the Irish. And I will look about for Faustus to see if he is here, as I know he has the ear of young Lord Washburn.
You know that there's a lot of going on about the Red Letter Day that is approaching, this day of feasting in Dredgewater, the Epiphany, and of the feast of Saint Ethelwald. And they're coming south. Pilgrims are coming south and purportedly bringing some of the sacred bones of Ethelwald himself to the abbey down in Dredgewater. Among them, supposedly an anchorite, is in hopes to seat himself in Dredgewater. That is where you're at when you're waiting for waiting for your counsel with the nobleman. But I'm gonna switch to Faustus and see if where you're at, Faustus.
Wow. Okay. I guess since Faustus has kind of uprooted himself from his air quote estate that
Yeah.
that he was endowed with, I guess he would probably have a modest quarters somewhere within the Washburn compound, so to speak, and unless he knows of Alderman Oda's arrival, my guess is that he would probably be within stone's throw of young Washburn himself, just in case.
Okay.
There's still a concern of his that even with the festivities, I guess you would call them, that are upcoming, that Edgewater has seen. We've had a lot of difficult times happen during supposedly times of celebration. When our guard has been down, that seems as though that's when things have happened. And as far as I know, there are a lot of loose threads still that were not tidied up. Namely, the banditry that still is around, because that's a threat that has never fully been eradicated. But then there's also the threat of potential, still possibly insurgents that may be potentially about. So, Faustus has this on his mind, and he is juggling that along with the thought of properly preparing the young lord in these days, but preparing him, but not coddling him. So he's in a very precarious situation, and he's very stressed right now. So he will probably be trying to maybe take his mind off of things, slightly. Perhaps he's taking a stroll around, maybe watching the folk prepare for the upcoming festivities, maybe,
Okay. Let's just see how deeply your brow is furrowed.
Yeah.
Roll a d12.
Okay.
And add your into your mind or your.
Okay, so that's a 5 total.
Okay. Yeah, you're deeply worried. It seems like there has been more of separation between you and the young lord.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to have his mother's lack of support for you buzzing in his ear. You know what I mean? So you can tell it's created a
kind of a rift or a void,
fracture, a rift, in the separation between you two, which explains why you're so like that. You feel like you're hanging on by a thread, and a lot of what you say isn't going into good soil. As you are walking around, you do see, well, it's fairly good weather, but you do see heavy clouds to the northeast, along from which path that you expect that the travelers, impending pilgrims, would be coming.
Okay.
But you do see that as you walk along the gangplank, over the mud, which is still somewhat baked, dry, and crusted over, but still liquidy to a large extent, as it always, right underneath that pseudo-solid topsoil level. You see a little bit of a white matter, bone-like matter protruding out. And it seems bleached as if it is bone, at least about 1.5 inches and to your right.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, and this is just off of the beaten path, so to speak. Not.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically right. It's like
right there. Huh?
Yes, it's right there. Like you could put your foot on it and move it around. Or
I look up there. This wouldn't be a one of the spots where Asta banditry have been.
No, I was making the assumption that you were in and around town.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is that this
far away from the airport.
Is this a spot where past banditry have been displayed for all to see, and perhaps that this is just where the corpse has possibly fallen?
No, it seems
something like that.
Okay. No, I mean, whether you've had trouble dealing outside of town, inside, Sylvester pretty much keeps a good tight rein on, the Lord's man at arms.
Okay.
And
I will.
The sheriff.
Oh, okay. I walk towards this point of interest, and using his kind of gnarled staff that he has, he'll kind of support his weight and bend down, and he will kind of try to clear some of the mud or the dirt, the detritus, away from this thing, and get a closer look at it.
It breaks loose. It's a good probably foot, a little over long. It is broken and jagged at the end, but as you pull it out, the part that is more protruded down to a certain degree, 3-4 inches into the mud, is more or less clean with dry dirt, but you hear a sucking pull of mud. The remainder of the bone comes out. So it's kind of coated. But one thing you do notice is that it's been hacked on several areas around the bone. But it looks bleached. It's been there for a while.
Interesting. Okay. And taking just a quick look around, there's no other signs of any gear, discarded weapons, nothing. Nothing that it would indicate.
No, it's almost like it was there. Maybe it should have been seen, but everybody's engaged in the impending feast preparations.
Okay.
And when it's out. It's fairly, it's midday. There's a lot of activity.
I'll stay with inquisitive eye. He will kind of turn this bone this way and that, kind of inspecting it, and like a small, flicker of a candle's flame in his mind, you will think of the encounter that they had with the witch woman.
Okay, you do. It may cross your mind if you're not that so far away from the stock where they have the criminals, but it's a little bit too. It's not, in the immediate area of that where it's located. All right, that might be the only area that could potentially have something like that.
Okay. Very interesting.
Crimes are dealt with very brutally and harshly. What I mean? It's normally there's some semblance of order in the
yes.
field.
Yeah, bodies aren't just laid to rest and just discarded in the streets like this. And like you said, there's no other indication of any other pieces of bone there. Just one random piece of bleached bone.
About foot and a half, a little over a foot and a half. 3 inches long or so.
Probably against his better judgment,
It does look human, and
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay,
Do
all
it.
right.
Pick it
Yeah.
up.
No. Faustus will after he examines it and doesn't see anything unusual about it other than it is a solitary bone lying here. He will okay. He'll think about it for a moment and then tuck it under his I guess his cloak and continue his with his walking about the town with yet another mystery to solve now.
Anyway, all right. As you ponder that mystery, we'll go back to Ursa, as she seems to be a fortnight away or so.
Yeah, and so I think at first, I think the warband might be a little bit confounded as to why we are going off the road and into the wooded, kind of get in there, and there's a little bit of a break from the rain overhead. They feel good about that, and spirits start to lift a little bit, and I'm a lot more alert now, I think, than I was, as the effects of whatever potion or concoction that I had consumed to gain these visions is starting to subside, and I would look over to Halfdan, and I would say, make sure the men are ready. We do not know what we might find in the woods in these Saxon lands. My vision. Go ahead.
Almost as an answer to that, you hear a wolf pull back and howl in the distance.
Okay.
And as you're talking, roll a d12 and put your luck to it.
Okay. 8.
Okay. As you're talking, you hear behind you the crack, a moistened crack of a horse and one of your men yell out. And you can almost feel him falling on his steed behind you.
Okay.
Or probably to the right of you and beside.
Okay. So I think then at this kind of knowing that or assuming that this is an attack of some kind, at least that's the way I'm perceiving it, I would dismount from the horse and I would yell to the men, "Shield wall! Prepare a shield wall!"
Okay.
And I would not draw a sword, but I would definitely be standing ready to see where this threat came from.
Okay, it seems that as you dismounting the horse and turning around, you'll see that the horse and the rider has been somewhat thrown off the neck of the horse. He's still holding on to it, but the front of the horse is he's pitched forward into a pit, and around the pit, it seems like he's fallen into a trap. Pit trap where the horse is halfway down and the man is slid into it. It's a little bit slick with mud, and he's holding on to the neck of the horse and trying to pull himself back up. Other men in your company are down trying to pull him back up out of the pit.
Okay. And so I would, at this point, realizing that maybe there's not an immediate threat of ambush, I would look to the rider and I would say, dismount from the horse and bring it to me.
Okay. Well, I mean, he was pretty much off though after they pull him up out of his situation. it takes a team of them to kind of pull the horse up and out and get it stabilized. Seems like it's injured its leg somewhat.
Was it like fully in this pit?
Yeah. It's taking them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I misinterpreted. Yeah.
The bottom front legs.
Okay.
Right
In that case, then I don't ask them to bring it to me, but instead I would approach as it is probably like thrashing and screaming in pain as a horse would, right? And I imagine that I would approach, and as I'm getting closer and closer, right, are struggling to like keep the horse from going too crazy and potentially injuring itself even more. And as one of the first one, I get close to him, and I just put my hand on his shoulder, and I kind of push him aside or indicate for him to move aside. And he does. And then as I get closer and closer to the horse, I think I would start humming like, or maybe under my breath singing this song to probably that would be sung to like Freya or Frigga, one of maybe the god and goddess of nature, regardless, right? And it is meant to be a bit of a soothing song, and kind of as I'm getting closer and closer, right? The intent is to calm the horse down, but I keep going closer and closer to the pit where it's in.
Yeah, as you do this, roll your.
Can I roll spirit since I'm
spirit,
tending? Okay, great. Yeah. Oh wow! I rolled a natural 12. So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
so
it really calms down
3,
his hackles and stops shaking and whatever. It looks like it has the shivers for a second there,
Yeah.
In the mud, and it almost like looks at you, and his big almond eyes kind of just calm down a little bit, and it stays there and quivers and backs up a little bit, and you see it put more weight on his front foot where it was. More aware of it like that, and it's breathing real calm now.
Yep. And I think as it starts to calm down, right, I would, especially if this part might still be a little bit muddy, I might kind of like sort of half slide down into the pit so that I can stand next to the horse, and I would, I'd be putting my hand on it.
No, the horse. Sorry, the horse is up.
Oh, he got out. Okay.
Everybody was pulling in front of him. He was only halfway lodged in there.
So then, I'll still walk up to him, right, and I'll kind of, I'll start like petting or stroking his mane, right, kind of see his sides kind of slow down as his breathing sort of calms a little bit, and then I would whisper to him, "Thank you, my friend. You have done us a great service. You've shown us that this path is not as safe as we might have assumed. But your use to us is not done yet." And I'm speaking to the horse, right? And my intention would be to I would pull like a little dagger that I have at my belt, and I would cut its throat as a sacrifice. The idea is that I'm going to sacrifice the horse.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, when you do that, the horse just, almost like in a trance, like it doesn't rear back. It's been so transfixed by you and your calming thing that it is eerily disquieting to everyone watching this, and I think this raises immediately their fear of you, of your control. And they'll say when you were doing that, out the side of the corner of your eye, you see a little punji stick at the bottom of the trap, and you do recognize it as some kind of a wolf trap or whatnot, for animals. So obviously there may be hunters in the area, but also beyond this, as you were saying, that you saw carvings in the trees behind it of some kind of language that you have come in contact with before. It seems very Celtic.
Yep.
In nature.
And so, I think at this point, right, as the horse as soon as I like sort of plunge the blade in and the blood's flowing out and the horse very calmly, right, is I think you would hear this just rumble that turns into a roar that comes out of me, and my head goes up, and then it turns into this wail almost of despair, as the emotion of taking this beautiful animal's life as a sacrifice. While it is necessary, it is hard. But then as I come back down, or as my head comes back down, there would be like almost like a trace of tears, but it's blood. And my eyes are like bloodshot, not completely red, but like, pretty bloodshot. And then what I would do is I would kind of, as the blood is starting to pool underneath the horse, I would, put my hands in it, and I would, they're now completely covered, and I would kind of like smear it on my face as almost like a battle mask or whatever. And then I would look up and I would say, Goddess Freya, God Odin, Thor, Frigg, all of the gods sitting in your halls, please guide our path safely, for we ask you show us the way quickly and safely to where. And if I remember correctly, was Westwell's, or I guess the Washburn standard, it was like a wolf, wasn't it? Or was that, or am I just making that up?
You're talking about,
or is that not established?
The wolfhounds?
No, like their coat of arms or whatever, like their standard. Would that be like a wolf?
You may have established that with.
If not, can I establish that right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be fine.
Cool.
Because of the wolf,
yeah.
the wolfhound. But as you're saying this, you hear a raven squawk and then take flight.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, in the direction it's flying, seems to be a revelation as toward that direction you need to take to expedite yourself onward, like almost a call to what the horse initially opened up for you. The pathway. Okay. And then all the hushed murmurs and everything that was going on before you screamed, and then when you come out of that, everyone is stock still and quiet and almost transfixed by you. Okay.
Yeah. And then I think maybe like just because of how it took us a while to get down here, and this whole took time to do all this stuff. Perhaps the sun would be setting at this point, and so I would order the men to basically make camp here, and so they would put their normal kind of defensive structure up. It was a little bit of a makeshift stake wall and all that, just to kind of, to protect from any ambushes. And then I would imagine that night, with campfires going and everything, there's, for the first time, maybe in a while, I think the men are a bit more jovial than they were. Because we've had omens, right? The gods have spoken. The rain is no longer a problem for us. We're under cover, and the gods have seen fit, at least from what Ursa has been telling them, right? That that the gods are on our side, and so it's a big.
Oh yeah, definitely. So you're camping there for the night, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll see a red glow of the moon. It is kind of coming filtering through the canopy of the trees, and you hear the occasional raindrop, but it's subsided.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and I suppose I would have, or Halfdan probably would have done it anyway, but I would have mentioned to send out scouts, obviously, to make sure that we know what's around, but. My hope is that this path will, because the Roman road kind of snaked around a little bit, that this will give us a little bit of a faster route to Dredge Town.
Okay, and it looks like, as far as I've done giving you a report, that it looks like that there are similar carvings throughout these woods, and they have located several traps of that make.
Yeah.
It seems to be some of them. A couple of them were, sprung. Aside from the one that the horse did, okay, already. But it looks like some of your men are carving up the unless you protest the horse.
No, that's fine. But I think, I think I would kind of be in a bit of reverie, right? And I would say, the ancients, the old folk of this land, left their carvings here. My vision seems the gods are leading me down the path that they wish me to follow.
If you're speaking health, Dan, he looks at you.
No, I'm just kind of speaking out loud, but not to anyone in particular, but he might be close enough to hear it.
Yeah, he's close enough to hear, but he doesn't say anything, and you can tell his countenance around you has changed somewhat to be more selective in approach. It's like almost he reveres you in spite of himself, from what all witnessed. And so the whole camp has kind of changed, tweaked tune a little bit. And we'll go to Lord Udda. It seems like your council is ready to hear you.
Yeah, I wait for them to present me in the chambers, and I will look about the chamber first to identify who's with Lord Weswell.
Okay. Lord Weswell looks a little bit worn about the ear from everyone bending it to their calls, but he looks at you and gives a little wry smile and waves you over. And so it's very silent. It's not a
I make the customary bow, and approach, reaching for his hand. Young Weswell, Lord Washburn, and I will kiss his ring finger, his ring. How
you
first?
can almost hear an audible sigh come out of him. Not disrespectful, but you can tell it's been a long day.
Yeah.
But he goes, "Yes, Lord Udda."
Well, first I would ask how your father is doing.
My father is he is well, but not as well as could be. He's on the mend, I would say. So, but our physicians are seeing to him, reaching him daily. And,
that is good.
I'm sure, especially with the abbot's care and attention to his soul, that he can rise above as soon as his humors are balanced. But until then, I can answer your questions or address you. It's just this incoming feast has been somewhat challenging for me.
It is but a feast. The feast will occur, and it will occur how all feasts occur, young lord. Do not fret what is to be.
But they say that they're carrying down the bones of Lord Aethelwald. And that time, his devotees in town still remain.
They are carrying the bones of Lord. Let's say yes. And have you sent the appropriate party to meet them as protection on the road?
It is part of their faith and will that God protects them until they arrive, and they will hear the words. Even though I extended the offer, that's customary for any traveling nobleman, but yet.
Well, I know you are tired. I can see from your countenance you've had a long day of much responsibility, young Weswell. I don't see Faustus around, but I would ask you directly. What have you learned of the rumors of the Dane, the witch that's leading the Danes? Have you heard more? Do you know more?
Okay, you're asking him this, and he's looking around a little bit. It's like when you said false, just kind of brought that memory back. Yes, I wonder where he went off to. Then he goes back. The Dane witch, the witch that was like with that barbaric horde that tried to take the city, and her failed attempt, we took his head. She was dismissed with the rest of her company.
So the rumors that I'm hearing now of a witch-led warband in the north, in Ireland, and thereabouts, is not true.
I've not heard of such. Where did you hear this?
I hear this from my sources. You do not have such sources?
Whisper looks a little bit uncomfortable and looks around himself at his supposed aldermen and landholders. And this is disturbing news. I have not heard of. This is the first I've heard of it. And indeed, I hope those travelers are safe in their pilgrimage to the town. But we shan't be caught with such an attempt so soon by the Sea Peoples to reestablish control over Dredgewater is unthinkable. I thought we handled that, and he's visibly kind of taken. Roll a d12, of course, and add your prestige to it. Sorry.
Prestige?
Yeah.
9 total.
9. He looks at you and kind of regains himself a little bit, and I shouldn't. You of all people, my lord, have been a supporter of my father and myself, and indeed have been there when we needed you most, and supplied information where others, and he looks around the room somewhat dismissively, have failed to do so. I would like to call a meeting with you and the other nobles for you to present this information so we can decide what to do on the eve of this feast, no less. And he starts to break down again. Then he pulls himself tight. But I must do what I must do. I should perhaps let my father know. And then he backs up off that a little bit. Because,
Young Weswell,
I can handle this.
You must recognize that you have aldermen. You can split some of these duties with the other aldermen, and you can certainly call upon my young son. Jarek would love to do nothing more than aid you.
I would, and his hand reaches out and grabs yours for a second and tightens it and then releases it a little bit. Yes, that would be most advantageous.
You must learn to delegate. If Faustus was here, I believe he would second me.
Where is he? And he rubbernecks a little bit and cranes, looking over his shoulder, about the room.
Thanks, Jason.
Just when I need him. Just when I need him most.
Get you in trouble with the boss.
Yeah.
Yes, we shall have a meeting post haste. I will give them. He leans over and pulls over. Give them the cold shoulder, and the cook heads off. He heads off to tell the cook, and pretty soon everybody kind of gets the idea. As the cold pork shoulders passed about on all the plates, and everybody realizes it's time to wrap things up.
Yeah.
They the ones that he sent missives to, his aldermen, together. And it seems like it's going to be a little bit of a private council. and he begs you to stay, and he sends a runner after Faustus. And find Faustus, is what he says. So we'll go over to Faustus.
Okay.
Pretty soon, you notice a couple of guards stalking around on the gangplanks.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them you catch your name being called.
Mm.
And hey, Faustus, the Lord needs to see you. Young Lord Westwell, quickly follow me.
I possibly recall that there was a meeting of the minds that I am potentially very late for in my meanderings. And so he gets his stride in gear and moves when he has purpose fairly nimbly for one of his age, and follows the guards towards the council chamber.
Okay. Yeah, and you arrive there,
Mm-hmm.
and the doors swing open, and you see the primary alderman, Lord Utter included,
Mm-hmm.
gathered around the table. It seems that the partygoers and hangers-ons have already left. In fact,
Mhm.
you passed through the last few stragglers of those that were leaving as you were
Mhm.
entering.
I raise an eyebrow as some of the individuals that I pass by. I question their need to be present at such an important event, but okay, I nod at them and continue on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you gather around the table, and the Lord asks that you all be seated, and then he defers to Lord Utter has brought us some troubling news, and on the eve of this Ascension feast, this Epiphany feast for Saint Aethelwald, we have, and then he breaks off. Please let Lord Utter let them know what you have told me.
Is Cassius here at this meeting?
Yeah,
or
he's
no?
he records every meeting that I have,
Okay.
so he's
Okay.
scribbling furiously, or he's taking mental notes, one of the two. But yes, Cassius is here.
On my way to my seat, I make it a point to grasp both Cassius and Lord Udda's shoulder, as a sign of respect and encouragement, as I make my way to my seat, and then I will sit down.
Okay. You grab a seat, and said he defers to he's the young lord.
Mm-hmm.
After he stands up, he does it with a little bit of flourish. He wants to be the center of attention. He's gathering all of his men around, and then he sits down and he says, "Lord Ada, tell us what you have learned."
My friends and agents about the north of the country, and you would not be surprised to hear that I do have allies and agents on my behalf. I am a veteran of the wars and a loyal member of this court, but it does me well to keep eyes upon the country on behalf of Washburn, yourself, sir, Lord, and all of my neighbors and brethren. They tell me there is a witch who leads a small war band. I am concerned this may be true, as we always have trouble with Danes, but I don't know of what capacity she operates. I don't know what the magnitude of her war party may be, but it would behoove us to have somebody out there investigating.
Faustus will, I guess, raise a hand to get Alderman Oda's attention,
Yeah.
and he says, "My lord, if I may."
Speak freely, Faustus.
How-
Always.
How have you come about this information about this Danish war band?
From colleagues and agents, which I will refrain from exposing their names here, as maybe you will understand.
Faustus nods, and
They
then,
are
he
trusted
asks,
friends. That's for our best interest.
Do not mistake my questions for lack of truthfulness in what you say. I merely seek to make sure that all present here have every shred of detail that is possible, so that we may all aid our Lord. And he nods towards Washburn in making the best decision that he can for all of us. Do we know that this warband's purpose and destination is here to come here?
No, but with the pilgrims bringing the holy relics to the feast, I fear they may be a target. And the last thing I would want to fall upon the heads of the Washburn and Dredge is the stories getting out to the greater England that we on our land a great crime is committed. Would it not look bad if these pilgrims are overrun and destroyed, and Saint Ethelwald's bones are lost to pagans? Would that not do great harm to Dredge and Washburn, the family Washburn in Dredge County?
Okay, at this moment,
go ahead.
Faustus, you feel an uncomfortable pain, a biting pain. It's a frostbite pain. No, this is laid across
Is worse?
inside where you put the bone in.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Get your skin. It is icy cold.
Oh, okay, a freezing pain. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like stuck to your skin right now.
Oh wow. Okay. Yes, definitely. Faustus will shift, perhaps giving the appearance that your words maybe bite him deeply.
Yeah.
And
raises an eyebrow and what I have said should not be so intolerable, Faustus, as I look about to see if everybody else is reacting the way Faustus is reacting.
And I will glance briefly down, below the table, just glance down towards where I have the bone concealed, and then quickly raise my eyes up, and perhaps Lord Udda would notice that Faustus's eyes shift, to the left and to the right, and that's a tell of his that, he's wildly trying to. He's thinking, he's thinking something's going on.
Yeah. And you is slightly, if anybody was acutely aware of this, there's a little bit of a permafrost that is developing around the outside of the robe, to where
Around his robe?
well, around the area that.
Oh wow! Okay, that's not good. Okay, all right. So Faustus will stand.
Yeah, Udda will respond. He'll take a step back from this again, because right now it appears as though you're reacting fairly negatively to what I've said. Right?
Yeah.
And he will try his best to regain his composure, And what he's going to do, what he has in mind, is to now move around the room in the hopes that him moving about will allow him to bear this mysterious ailment, a little bit better as he walks around, the table or the chamber. Okay. So you guys, you hear his feet shuffle amongst the floor and the tap, the thump of the staff that he has, in his hand. And he says, as I am certain all of you here are well aware of, as of late, now, would county be the correct terminology, or what?
Yeah,
Okay.
Dredge County, Dredge, yeah,
okay, Dredge, okay.
Duchy, whatever,
We have faced extreme circumstances time and time again. I would even say so far that some of you may feel as though we're being divinely tested. Others may feel as though it is fate and simply a test of the metal to the forge, while others may feel as though it just may be happenstance or just bad luck. But I, for one, do not abide, as many of you may know, to the whim, let us say, of the divine. And I report that this Danish warband must be intercepted and either captured or basically frightened away for the sanctity of our county. We cannot afford to have yet another incursion, and have our people losing faith in Lord Washburn. His rule must remain and continue to be one of peaceful strength.
Well said, Faustus. Young
Del,
Wes
would
will.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Jason.
Well said, Faustus. Well said.
And he'll lean upon his staff and kind of brush the frost away a little bit if he can.
Right.
Hoping no one notices.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Would you mind, Del, if I interjected as one of the other aldermen in the room after Faustus' speech? You don't have to, but I just okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So perhaps at that, I would imagine that Alderman. I'm going to pick Daedrin because I love that guy.
Yeah.
He may be one of the more influential of the aldermen. Obviously, apart from Lord Udda, it would stand. And he would say, "The esteemed Lord Udda and the wise counselor here speak of this Danish witch and her warband, and yet I have heard nothing." And I kind of motioned to the crowd, the few aldermen still. Have your scouts and your men mentioned anything of a warband? Surely we would have heard something. And I say, not that I wish to, how would he say it? Not that I'm calling anyone out for speaking falsehoods, but simply that would it make sense to worry ourselves and to divert ourselves from the merriment on but a rumor, not to mention the fact that Lord Udda, and he kind of there's some sharpness to that, chooses not to divulge the source of his information, simply that it is his eyes and his ears about his fjord and about the land. I don't know, but it seems to me, if this seems like this council has been with conflict.
There
And then he
is, yeah, as you're saying this, there seems to be, the door swings open, and it looks to be a guard. Not overly so, but he comes in, you can tell he's on pins and needles about something. And he's stop and go, and he kind of rushes over to the Lord and leans in when the Lord brings him in. And young Lord kind of goes wide-eyed, stiff. He says, what should we make of this? Come show me. Faustus, come with me. And he doesn't seem to be like dissuading anybody else, but he's pointing out as the guard leads him out of the hall and down. It's not much ceremony in this at all. He's kind of going on, and they go outside the gate and start going down the gangplank. And there seems to be a lot of people back away from a scene, but not crowded around it, but definitely gathered around a scene. And it, you notice, Faustus, that where you previously were when they held you, where you had retrieved the bones, so that makes a little connection there. It would be somewhat obvious.
Okay.
And for a moment, the Lord stopped, and then he's led, and he grabs a hold of your arm to pull you along.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go down there, you see the discarded remains of half of a skull with the neck bones, and shoulder is like it's cleaved halfway through. Some of the meat has been mummified to it. It's raised up. It's covered with mud. Some of it cake, but most of it is very moist, and it's trying to climb itself out of the out of the mud itself as it's going like that. And it's like it's got its jaw unhinged, like it's screaming, and its head is lolling around. There's half, and people are, too afraid to approach.
I'm sorry, Dale. I forgot you are.
But there's nothing but like a.
I should have known.
Nothing but like a death rattle coming out of it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's almost like reaching out to others, but it's trying to get a handhold.
So there's a somewhat animated corpse trying to pull itself free from the mud or the dirt.
Now I'm going to have to make you roll for this. It's going to be fairly easy, but roll up mind. It's kind of ties it up when you notice in the first place.
Okay, but that is what we're looking at, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You say it so nonchalantly, like, yeah.
He has nothing to be scared of.
I know, right? Mine coming up.
I'm not in your shoes.
Yeah, 7 total.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
It takes you a moment to realize this, but you do when the bone in your pocket is sticking on your flesh, that you realize that there is a cold permafrost seeping across from the creature and coming out because the death rattle has a white, cold smoke coming out of it as it heaves.
Yeah.
So it's starting to frost over around the mud and everything, and as it's grabbing forward, handfuls of mud is trying to climb out.
I will scream to the guards. Well, I will scream first, trying to command everyone to stand back and get away, and then I will have
much of a problem with that. But
and I will tell the guards to get torches and oil if they can immediately and burn this abomination.
Well, roll. It ain't gonna be a hard one, but roll your prestige. Let's see how fast you can snap them out of it.
I think I didn't update my sheet. I've got a. You've
got to have at least
3. 2?
Yeah, at least a 2 now because you have a tower. Yeah. You have a land. You actually have
a. I don't know why.
For prestige, I would say at least a 2 or a 3.
I'll put that 2. Okay. Jeez. 3 total.
Oh,
Yeah.
a total. No, they
Yeah,
seem
yeah.
to be in a stupor, and they haven't snapped out. Even the Lord Watchburn is like
Mhm.
that. And you know, if Uda, if you're there, which I don't know. If
No,
you're
Udda is wherever
Right.
Daedrin is at. So if Daedrin follows out, then I follow close on Daedrin's heels.
Oh yeah.
Unless you guys
I mean,
see
Whispering,
the-
whispering in his ear as we walk down the hall. Your reputation is staked on your blindness and your deafness. You choose to be blind. You choose to be deaf. It'll be your
Okay.
reputation that burns when these things go wrong, Daedrin. So I'm just whispering these things in his ear as I follow him wherever he goes.
oh, good old worm.
Right, and I would be muttering back,
All right.
"We shall see, we shall see." Yeah, but
Okay.
I definitely would have followed the Lord because obviously he just like takes off. So we're like, "Oh God."
Well, you guys would probably hear my screaming, you know, my yelling, and if the guards seem to be befuddled, would there be a torch or a sconce or anything nearby that I may be able to grab? Oh,
No, you're pretty much out in like I said, it's midday, and you're out.
Oh, it's
in the-
midday
in the
still.
Open
Okay,
on the
that's right, okay.
gangplanks around with mud in between the gangplanks, and this one creature.
okay.
You know,
I will-
whatever. But
I'll do this then.
go ahead.
I'll pull the. I'm assuming it was like a femur bone. That's what I pictured. So I'll pull it out from my cloak and rush towards the creature or the thing
Oh,
in order to keep its attention away from Lord Washburn. Okay,
Okay,
and perhaps. Oh, go ahead.
no, that's fine. You can do that. Just roll me a body, okay?
Okay. Okay. Let's see how. I already rolled the 1 tonight, so let's see if I can go up from there. What is that? 7 total.
Okay.
nice.
Well, this does when you got it, you realize that you can't hold on to it long, and it's already
Bolt.
stuck to your hand.
Oh.
You know.
Oh.
And
Oh, wow.
it kinda-
like almost like frost burn, like stuck in that.
Exactly.
Oh God.
Exactly.
Wow.
So when you pull it out without thinking like that, it's like that. Once you start running, but
Yeah.
we will
Don't
stop
pick up
there
the
as I'm going
creepy
back
bone.
to
Ursa.
Ursa. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
All right.
Ursa,
Okay.
you've been camping, sleeping, whether you've been in a trance
Yeah.
or whatnot. But what you do is you feel, if you're in a trance or if you're in a dream, there is ice cold draft that almost goes through your body and along the soil, and you see almost the permafrost in the direction of where you're supposed to go.
Okay.
But as you're coming out of that, right, you still see the little tendrils, but you hear wood of the trees crack. All right. And then you hear a horse neigh, and you hear the horse crack in a way. And then it is silently muffled as it goes down. And then the other horses, and it seems to be that there's a little bit of a stampede. The men are now being roused. It's totally dark except for the red light coming through the canopies as you look around. These carvings are somewhat, that you saw on the trees, are somewhat slightly illuminated
Okay.
green, and they stand out against the red back glow of the sky
Yep.
above. And all your men are already shifting and waking each other up and looking around, totally befuddled. And you can hear, aside from all the chaos of the men and everything, there's men shouting, "Here, it's there. Where is it? Have you seen it?" You know, all in Danish. You
Okay.
feel it all around.
So this is still nighttime. This isn't happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then, yeah, I imagine I would. I don't even think I have like a big tent or whatever because I'm not really like a big commander. Like I just would have been in actually I have this great big like bear pelt made into like a cape basically, and so I would probably have that wrapped around me and whatever. But and the blood from the horse would have been dried at this point, so it's probably more of like a ruddy brown. But I would come out. Or I'd get up, right, from where I might have been resting or kneeling. And I would be looking around. And when I see the permafrost, for a moment, it snaps me back to the scene where, this terrifying creature that had just beheaded the Daneslayer, right, was getting sucked down, into the icy depths of Helheim. And for a moment, it's almost as if I'm in that moment feeling that fear again, but then just as I was able to overcome that, I master my nerves, and I look around and I would yell, what is going on? What is going on? Tell me, what you are looking for?
Okay. There seems to be a lot of chaos. Your man, Halfdan, he looks at you wide-eyed, and I will find out, my lady, and runs off without necessarily your consent. But it looks like he's a little bit, he's reaching down and he's attached this shield to his arm, and he's got his battle axe at the ready, and you can see off in the distance, behind which the red. The red is streaming through. You see men raising axes and coming down on something. And something that seems to be moving off in the distance, because they will come down and hit something and then kind of be drugged by it a little bit, right?
These are my men, the part of my war party? Oh, okay.
Exactly. Roll a mind.
Yeah. I would absolutely start making my way towards that as well. So 10.
Yeah. Okay. Now you can see with the glistening of the axe, you can also see also glistening of some kind of reptilian skin that you can discern off in the distance. It seems to be that's what their axe are biting into, but it's rather large. I mean, to the knees, some of your men.
Okay.
So, like I said
if
earlier,
this is a vampire, if this is a dragon, I'm out. Okay. So I think perhaps maybe even surprising me, I will draw Bearclaw. And I will approach the men to get a better look at whatever this reptilian thing is. Yeah.
Yeah, well, go ahead and roll a D12.
Okay. Do you need me to add anything to it?
Just add your body and your equipment.
Oh, for combat? Oh, okay.
You're trying to get to it, right? Okay. No.
Well, no, I'm just trying to approach as close as I can to see it. I don't intend to physically engage it. But
you can get there close to, because it seems to be encircling your warband, and driving the people in a little closer.
Oh my God! It's one thing as far as I can tell, or can I not even tell?
It feels like just from the atmosphere and the ambiance around you, the chaos is radiating out around 360 around you, right?
Okay.
So that's what I mean by it feels like it's all around you, but everybody is not necessarily biting into it. But where you see the moonlight coming through, filtering through, you can get a good look at this creature going across. So that's probably where you're more or less going into that to get some at least light exposure. And
So what?
you do,
Yeah.
yeah. If you run up, you do see that it is indeed a snake-like creature, a mammoth one.
Yeah, huge, like serpent type thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, it's bearing down. You men seem to be making some purchase with the axes into it. You know, it doesn't seem that it thrashes and it throws some of them.
Okay.
You know, and dislodges the axe and throws them. But I do want you to roll right now. Just roll a straight
Yeah. D12.
Roll.
Yeah. So I got a 10.
10. Okay.
Yeah. I'm so scared that my dice are going to turn on me at the worst possible moment because they've been really
Yeah.
good.
No, your men are biting into it. It seems to be rather, proficiently. They've managed to at least form up and are calling and relaying information to each other. You can tell that their training is beginning to kick in, even though half of them are still discombobulated. And you can smell the acidic smell of the blood being flung across, and almost taste it biting across your lips as the axe are flying and the blood's coming at you, right? But it's really crazy because the serpent will whip around and knock people down,
Yeah.
So there's people toppling over it and biting into it. But you do see it's not fully enwrapped around you like you at first feared, but it is rather long.
Yeah.
A good
Sure.
potentially up to 40 foot.
But it's on the ground, right? Or partially in the ground. Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's fat and healthy. It's fat and
Okay.
healthy.
Yep. So I think what I would like to do then is again with that memory of the previous however long it's been and that encounter with that terrible creature. I remember that I basically froze the ground underneath it and ripped open a crack and dragged it down. And so I'm going to attempt to do something similar again. I want to at least freeze the ground beneath and around this thing if I can to slow it down. But this time I am going to call. I mean, like I would imagine that my eyes will go like red at this point, and and I will call on the giantess Hela to take this creature back down to the underworld with her where it belongs. But I rolled, so I guess spirit. Yeah, I think I got a 7 total.
7. Okay. As you do cast this issuing of cold that comes out of your body, it almost like backwashes onto you and around your own feet and freezes up your thigh a little bit, as you can feel it in reverse pass through you, that death-like cold, and head back in the direction that is the direction that you were originally intended to follow. Okay, that you saw the tendrils of permafrost go out.
This is a different direction than where. Okay.
Oh yeah, exactly. You got up,
Yep.
and it kind of came from behind where the mass of your men were sleeping, since you were kind of, what I mean, or the troop behind you were laying down. So
does this and I don't know if I can tell this, but does it seem to be that this serpent-like creature it'll strike, but is it more in response to being attacked as opposed to aggressively attempting to attack?
Well, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
You're going to see bodies thrown at this moment.
Yeah.
Not only have you taken one wound, but your men have been flung about. And so when the thing thrashes, you can hear almost like when it slaps up against the man, it'll like almost break his back if it ain't throwing him against the tree. And you hear them the screams and then quick determine whether or not they're being swallowed or either being like just suffocated in one manner or another because of the chaos. But definitely that frost that you've given out goes backwards on you as you do. So,
yeah. I think then at this point I would yell to as this frost kind of maybe almost roots my feet to the ground for a moment, and with less vigor in my voice than before, or perhaps it comes out almost as like with ice on, or my breath, like breathing into the cold air. I'd be like, retreat from this beast, leave it be. This is not what we are here to do.
I mean, if you want to issue that command,
I do.
The prestige and let's see how effective it is.
Well, I rolled a natural 1.
Oh.
Okay.
See, it turned on me. I knew it.
Yeah, when you say that, I mean, just you hear more screams, more cracking. This thing is thrashing about like almost a worm. You know what I mean? And your men are you feel getting waylaid.
Okay.
It doesn't feel good when one of your men collide into your body,
right?
Feminine body, and he wouldn't have did this on purpose. Of course, it was under his own volition and control.
Yeah, no, I get it.
He has no control over this as he slams into you and back up against a tree, and you roll aside, take 2 more wounds.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, and we'll stop there, and we'll go back to Utta and Faustus. Okay, Faustus, you were telling everybody to break their stupor and go run off and do that, and you don't say everybody's still transfixed by this sight.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's when I
of this thing.
pull
You
out
see
the
the tendril of coal reaching out. Yeah.
towards me specifically.
Oh yeah, the bone.
Yeah.
No. I just meant like you could see it creeping across the mud and up to almost solidifying up to near the people that are watching. And some
okay.
Just a little bit too close, right? It's almost like a siren's call that they're being sucked in. But your hand, you take a wound for that.
Mm-hmm.
It is biting and screaming, but do what you're doing with that.
Okay. So I will, like somewhat of a wild man, try towards the animated corpse or the frost corpse, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to step into the permafrost that is around it, but I will point the. I cannot drop this thing because it's frozen to my hand. Correct? It's.
I mean, correct. You
more or
can
less.
probably try to wedge it off or something if you.
Wow.
Give me a body, thing.
Okay. Well.
But every moment it's adhering more, and your hands are turning a little bit blue.
Oh wow. Okay. I'll at this point in time I'll point or thrust the bone towards it, and I'll say now.
Or the creature.
Is there any recollection or is there anything about this creature that reminds me of the witch that was destroyed before in the streets?
I think you would have to roll a mind to discern that. You can't ask for an ID specifically, but I mean, there are. I mean, it's such in the decrepit, decayed state that it may
Sorry,
be.
you don't have probable cause. You can't ID.
But whenever you're throwing this femur out toward it, I want you to roll your body too to see if you can keep your footing, because there's some pull to it.
Like a magnetism, huh?
Utta, as he watches this, when he realizes he hears yells, sees the crowd backing away, Utta will bark orders at Wesweld and his soldiers to get the Lord back into to Dredgetown. That's what I'll do during this.
Sixth body, Dell.
Fix with the body.
Sixth
Oh,
body,
geez.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you top, because everybody's on the gangplank, but when you're trying to run through the people and you try to throw it, it pulls you off the gangplank in the direction that you pointed toward the creature, and it's stuck to your hand, so you go
With it.
toppling over with it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
It's hard
that
to
makes
say,
sense.
But you
Okay.
know, when it dives in, you hit with a smack that cushions your fall somewhat if the permafrost hadn't already sort of iced over the ground, and you feel that stinging from the bone. Somewhat to a lesser degree, the ground is stinging in the same way as it's biting into you and kind of adhering you, at least like your clothes immediately. When you're twisting and pulling up, you can tell your clothes is stuck to the ground.
Okay, Faustus sees his fate approaching quickly, and yells over his shoulder and says, "Fire! You fools, get fire!"
Udo will
this-
Udo will look about the standards here in town and grab loose a torch, and attempt to apply it to the creature while drawing my longsword.
Okay.
And-
I will say also, Faustus, that your dive seemed to have a positive effect on breaking them out of their stupor.
Okay.
And they shake their head. You can tell them kind of looking at each other, and there seemed to be from your earshot people running off. Uda, you can see that too, but you said grabbed.
Yeah, I barked orders for the soldiers to take young Wesweld into safety while I grabbed the torch and drew my longsword.
And,
Yep.
Well, go ahead and roll your prestige on that and see how effective that actually is.
7 total.
Okay. Okay. They do it there, a little reluctant, little. Their professionalism is somewhat diminished from seeing this, and not really realizing what it is, obviously. So they do that a little reluctantly, but they drag him off and start taking him up there. Faustus, you're adhering to this ground, and the creature himself reaches toward the bone in your hand, and it pulls itself and redirects itself to try to reattach, at least back into the body of it.
Oh, okay, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a bit stretched right now.
I yell once again over my shoulder that this is a thrall of the witch, and if it is not intercepted, this will be but the first of many dark incursions into our lands, and many will die. Say, what was the Lord's name who stood up? The alderman's name who stood up to show his disdain or doubt about what we were talking about?
Yeah, Daedra.
Adrian.
Daedra?
Sam was
Yeah.
playing.
Is he there?
I'll let you play him, Sam.
Is he there?
Yeah, he's there.
Oh, okay, all right. I make it a point. Faustus makes it a point to make eye contact with him.
Okay.
And,
As you do, it's a little bit with the grimace, because take one more.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I said. He feels as though this is his. This
So
may be
Udo
his
will,
last moment to.
Udo will approach the situation. I will use the torch to fend away the creature, and look at Faustus. Faustus, and I'll bring my longsword up, aiming for his outstretched, now affixed bone to his hand.
Yeah.
And I'll bring my sword down, trying to cut his hand off.
Okay.
to separate this bone that's now frozen to his hand from his
Yeah,
body.
you're trying to cut Faustus' hand.
I'm looking right at
Maybe-
Faustus, kind of, bite
He
your,
knows.
I mean,
bite
what
your
can you
lip,
do?
buddy.
Yeah, he knows. He knows, and he knows.
All right.
He meets your gaze.
Well, look, y'all both want to roll opposed luck rolls and see
Or what?
who gets it.
11.
Yeah.
Wait, what's
Yeah,
my luck?
I ain't gonna beat that. My luck is 0, so
11. My luck's a 1, so 12 for me.
6 for me.
Okay, well, yeah, Uda does get his way about things.
Okay,
That
yeah.
happens to go, no matter if you see this, and try to yank away.
No, I don't
It
think I
doesn't
could
happen
anyway.
before that sword bites into and cleaves, for the most part, your hand. And I would say with that
The
12,
bone in it.
yeah, it takes a second. He just has to wiggle the sword a little bit before it fully frees you.
Oh
Now,
wow.
Yeah,
wasn't
you
a clean
pop
cut.
back a little bit, sinew stretching as you roll back, but your clothes are fully adhered to it. But it doesn't roll your luck one more time.
How much do I take? Do I take a wound from that strike?
Oh
or
yeah,
what?
definitely. Yeah, sorry about
Okay.
that. Yeah, you do. If not two,
What am I rolling again?
just roll your luck one more time. I want to see if there's.
1.
Oh, gee.
Critical.
Okay, that's not good. I was hoping that some people would get back in and be able to haul you out.
Oh, not yet?
Stood in the
Okay.
stupor,
Okay.
and they're
Faustus the
not
Lich,
getting
is that
to
what
you.
you're
But
saying?
the fact is, whenever Jason swung that like the torch, it toppled over and caught your robes
Mm-hmm.
on fire. So now it's pretty rough because
Jeez,
you
Dale.
got that.
Fortunately,
Frostburn, you got
you
the
were frozen,
burn
so
burn.
all you're doing now is thawing out.
Yeah, you're just thawing out. But that's
Like a hot dog out of the freezer or something.
yeah. Go ahead and take 2 wounds for that because you're getting.
Oh boy.
Oh, critical fail,
Okay,
yeah.
so my wounds are 5 and my body is 5.
People,
Yeah, so this is a wound
Yeah.
system, so you were at fatigued,
yeah.
then, so you would be dead, I'm afraid.
Okay.
I didn't
There
know
you
if
go.
it was dying or dead, but
There you
it's
go.
I can't even
Going
remember
through
our
both
own
of them.
number of wounds. Isn't that funny? Fatigued.
Well, I have 5. Yeah, 5 health is what I've got. So.
5 is dead, I think, because you got
recoil a little bit.
Yeah,
with
so you're
those.
battered,
fatigued,
injured,
battered,
dying.
1, 2, injured, and dying. Yeah, so 5 would be
Yeah, and then
dead.
dead.
That was your last
Okay.
wound. Yeah, shoot.
So as
You're-
the flames envelop Faustus's robes, they kinda wick up like
they
a-
burst aflame. And,
yeah, like a candle.
yeah, and as it's burning, the bone will
Uh-huh.
roll out and and fully fix itself with your hand
wow.
going inside of the
Uh-oh.
creature too, and
Uh-oh.
you'll see the fingers and whatnot halfway sticking out of
Uh-oh.
the arm area.
Okay.
So you're
That's not
officially a
good.
part of it.
Okay.
But
There you go.
your eyes stayed transfixed upon Daedrin, who's standing on the
Right,
gangplank,
watching.
mouth agape,
Right.
as you're staring him down into eternity.
I will
Now-
turn
even
my
as
blade.
it's like it's being like absorbed into this oh my god, I think Daedrin might piss himself. I'm just saying.
I turn my blade on this creature and call for the soldiers to come and aid. First, though, my goal is to strike this creature while it flounders in the mud.
Yeah. Roll and see what you can do.
12,
Is-
nat 12,
Nat 12.
Nat
Now,
12,
At this point,
baby. Big 12.
yeah, at this point, whenever you dislodged Faustus's hand, the creature was almost pinioning itself out of the ground a little bit, bridging, and then the hand came loose and it's back a little bit. And so it was still trying to clamber out, more so out of his holdings. And when you come down on it,
I'm going to cut its
Yeah.
head from its torso.
Well, hold on, real quick. Yeah.
1 minute giving the
Yeah.
speech of his life, the next
let me
minute
know.
burning to a crisp in the
Is that what
courtyard.
you do? Is you bite into it and cleave his head?
Oh yeah,
His
I'm
torso?
gonna with a nat 12. I'm gonna try to cut something off, limb or head or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and at 12, yeah, you bite into it. You maintain your footing on the gangplank, and with the tip, more so the tip of the blade, yeah, you just bite into it and send the head careening off into the mud and rolling. The pieces are still cold. And
Is it animated? Is it flailing? Is it still alive?
Yeah, it's still flailing, though somewhat without purpose or focus, somewhat. And it seems like the more it's flailing, the more it's kind of grooving it or digging itself into the mud a little bit deeper, working,
Okay.
cross purposes of what it was trying originally to do. And the mouth is still agape, and some of the desecrated flesh is still on it and smeared, and then it starts to, after a minute, it still has that animated movements, but it starts to slow down, and then it kind of dies, and the limbs just fall limp. Half
Okay.
the body.
I bark orders to the soldiers to bring a hot oil. We're going to pour boiling oil over this head and these remains.
Yeah. Well,
That's
why
a good
you do
idea.
that,
Fried zombie is really the only way to eat it. I mean, you know,
Yeah. How
you
do
could bake
fried
it, but it's
zombies?
just gross.
We'll get Ursa. You were battered, taking 2 wounds. as you brought
No,
up.
you. Did I only take 2? Because you said 1 at first, and then you said,
So you
and
should
I
have-
wasn't sure if you said 2 more wounds. So I think
yeah,
I have 3
two.
wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 3
Right.
total. Now.
Okay, yeah. So I'm injured. Now I just want to put it out there that when the corpse was decapitated, did that perhaps also have some negative effect on this great big serpent that we're dealing with? Since they're clearly related.
Not
in
you
some
and I.
way.
You're
Nice
a little
try,
bit
nice
different
try.
time zones
They're
right
two
now.
different RSCs, man.
I feel like that
RSC
12
2,
though, right now.
Right?
No.
RSC 3. They're two different.
Yeah.
They're 2 minute.
No, it's
they're
all
two
good.
different
And
random
they're in different-
scenarios.
They're at different times as well because we're still at night. Okay, yeah. So I'm definitely injured. I think that maybe like as the body of one of my soldiers, in mail with the shield and their axe, comes flying at me, knocks me to the ground, and I think maybe like it knocks my breath out for a minute. Or maybe like my head kind of slams against the ground a little bit harder than normal, and I think my vision would go all like, and then what I would love to do, if it's okay, I'd like to see if I can roll a spirit roll to. Well, the idea would be that I would beseech the goddess Jord, or Jord, or however it's pronounced, the Earth goddess, the mother of Thor and all that, to aid us in battle, and kind of flavoring it within this like vision, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, awesome. Let's see.
yeah.
Okay. You're at 3, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, so I think what I would imagine is as I kind of like, fall, right, and my vision would go kind of like white or whatever, and then I would imagine like I would see this giant figure kind of reach their hand out to me, and at first I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, but there's no fear at all, and I hold my hand up, and it materializes into the vision of this woman, huge, right, and she says, get up, your time is not yet or it is not yet your time. And then I would beseech her, Jord, mother of Thor, lover of Odin, goddess of the earth. Please give me the strength and the power to defeat this serpent. And if I am successful, what I would like to do is have the trees and the roots kind of like start to entangle it. But I don't know if my roll was high enough or not, but that would be the intention.
Okay. Well, what actually happens, it seems that there is a little bit of instead of the trees bending in, you can hear sprays of dirt.
Okay.
And go up as root systems are coming up.
Yeah. Okay.
And pinioning around the beast, and though it's thrashing about, it's somewhat restrained now. However, it isn't all.
Nope.
You can
Not
still
completely.
see some of your men still pinioned in between the root systems and the snake as it's thrashing about, and you'll hear guttural cries and snapping of backs and blood sprays as your men are kind of caught within these root systems, between the root systems and the snake. But it has somewhat created a barrier between you and the snake and a lot of your men on this side. It seems like you've taken significant damage to your war party, but if you would like to retreat, it seems like it's mostly, restrained right now.
So at this point, I feel like we can't retreat. I feel like at this point we've taken damage, yes, but how can we possibly, continue on and defeat the Saxons and take Dredgewater and all this if, this serpent stands in our way and our mighty warband can't do anything about it. And if I can't lead them, then, what's the point? And so,
Go home
I
disheartened.
would, what's that?
Other than go home disheartened,
Yeah, exactly. And so I think I would scream, and I would be attempting to, wield the blade. But I think it's probably pretty heavy, and being that I'm pretty frail, I'm like, I would be like bleeding, maybe like my leg is a little bit gimpy or whatever. But what I'd like to do is, if I can, use make a prestige roll to see if it can inspire the
Motivate your
warband
men.
to come together and attack all, as a unit. So let's see.
just roll.
Yep, 7. 4
That's
plus
actually
3,
the number I had in mind. I mean, just to let you know, a little meta there, because your
that's good.
earlier thing with the horse, as well as their natural professionalism, in spite of everything that's happening, and in spite of them having hacked through some of their comrades that are still managed, they're hacking like berserkers at this point. Raged.
Nice.
And this thing, it takes them a little while, and the thing still, a snake will still thrash about, even though they've severed it at a junction, right below the head and whatever like that. You still see the mouth moving around, which is humongous, and that you could tell along the way, along sections of the body, that there are fatter areas, and when they bite into it, you'll see parts of horses as well as humans, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The internal area. So when you finally do that, And once the carnage dies down a little bit, there is still a blood rage about and crying victory and everything.
Yeah.
So that'll go off into the night. Want to get back for if do you want to chill there and stay there for the rest of the night, or move on?
Oh, well, I think we would stay, but a little further back, maybe where our camp was
maybe you can reposition
previously.
the camp.
Yeah, but I think we like sever the head of this beast, and we would like, I don't know how big it is, so perhaps it might take 2 or 3 like stakes to kind of hold it up. But I definitely think that this is going to be like a banner head for us going forward, and then we're just going to go bananas.
Ursa
Roll your
and the
mind, real
snakes.
Mind?
And David, you can roll up another character, or just point by another character.
I rolled an 11 plus 1, so 12
12.
for mind. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you see as the head goes down, all of those emblems that were glowing faintly green, the spark goes out of it, so
Yep.
to speak, and then that red intensifies from the moon, and just like, from the blood to the red coming through the canopy to all your warriors triumphantly, screaming the blood rage. It seems to be a little bit of affirmation of your journey going forward, and I think instills in them that same sense.
Yeah.
And
And I would probably, just to wrap it up, I would probably yell like, "You see that? Our gods protect us even here in this land. They, the Saxon wizards call us a serpent upon us, but our mighty goddess Jord and the power of her son Thor helped us to defeat this vile beast. And if we can defeat this, then we will take all the lands from here until to London." And then,
Yeah.
But then I gotta
later
sit
on
down,
that night
'cause,
you'll find
damn.
the frost burn is pretty is pretty liberal.
It's pretty
along
significant,
your,
yeah.
Abs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we'll go
Okay.
back to Lord Udda, and if you want to introduce anybody along the way,
Udda will
but
bark orders to the men around to make sure this boiling oil is poured over the remains, and then we will dig this up and destroy it or remove it from the property later. I'll then turn our attention to Faustus's body. I will throw my cloak over it. I'll douse the flames, and I will arrange him, and I will call for again peasants in the street to lift his body, take it to the chapel, and I will follow Faustus's body to the chapel with this rabble of peasants carrying his body toward Falcone's chapel.